So now, apparently, trade deficits are a national emergency. Because nothing says the country is burning down like buying TVs from China. But here's the kicker. We've had trade deficits for decades, and nobody was saying anything till Trump decided to make it his new chew toy.
Does trade deficits constitute a national emergency?
The hollowing out of the U.S. manufacturing
No, just yes or no.
class.
Yes or no? Yes or no?
It's a national emergency, sir.
It does. It does. You're telling me trade deficits equals a national or creates
Persistent and prolonged.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
And do you know also, sir, that for the last 4 decades, we've had trade deficits in the United States of America, and nobody said it was an emergency? Democratic and Republican presidents? You know what that says to me? That it's not an emergency because it hasn't been for 4 decades.
Yes, a consistent and prolonged national deficit. That was Scott Bessent, the Secretary of Treasury, who just gets on TV and just talks like this very slowly and is just trying to make excuses for this disastrous trade policy, the tariffs. And Trump actually thinks that trade deficits are why America is falling apart. He thinks that trade is theft because every time you buy a microwave from Japan, we lose. That's not how trade works. That's not how any of this works.
In Switzerland, what do you expect? What do you hope to come out of it?
We'll see. I mean, look, we were losing $1 trillion a year. Now we're not losing anything, you know? That's the way I look at it. We were losing with China on trade $1 trillion a year. More, actually. 1.1, but let's say $1 trillion. You know what we're losing now? Nothing.
Trump's out here bragging that we're not losing anything on trade anymore. Yeah, because no one's buying our stuff, and we can't afford to buy their stuff. So just stop trade completely. Trade isn't theft, it's an exchange. And even Fox Business has had enough of it.
What happened to the 200 deals that Donald Trump talked about last week that, quote, we have already had and gotten done? Or, you know, there are 200 deals, et cetera. I think this might be perceived by the market as an admission that they don't have a deal yet with any country, let alone Canada or India, because we were hearing so many rumors about India, right, Dagan? I mean, this was last week. And Scott Bessent said yesterday we would be very close to a deal that we will announce sometime, possibly this week. Where are these deals?
There you have it. Fox Business, that's usually supportive of him, is saying, where are these 200 deals that you said you had? They keep saying, we have all these deals. It's all going to come together. This is the master plan. This is game theory. That's what Scott Bessent has been saying. Where are these deals? They don't exist, folks. They don't exist. They're trying to gaslight, just like they've done everything else. Donald Trump is trying to gaslight us on these tariffs. And here's Jessica Tarlov explaining a little more.
And now CEOs are feeling more emboldened to come out and talk about the real risk to their companies and to the American public from these tariffs. Like the Mattel CEO gave a lengthy interview where he talked about the increases in prices of toys and that we do a lot of our toy making in the creation process here in America, but the manufacturing has to happen in China. Prices will go up. Microsoft says prices of your export.
Because the children's tiny little hands can work on the dolls. Don't you care about those children?
I absolutely do care about those children. But the idea that we are going to reroute all of this manufacturing back to America and find little tiny American hands that are going to do it is a farce.
As Jessica Tarlov explains there, these tariffs are a joke. The idea that we're going to bring manufacturing back to America, and as she said, you're going to have kids making these products that kids are making in China. No one is a proponent of kids in China making things. No one thinks that's a good thing. No one thinks that the low wages in China are a good thing. But unfortunately, this is where we are. Manufacturing gets done in a lot of these other countries because it's a lot cheaper. And therefore, we're allowed to make our products and have our iPhones and not worry about it. Even the Secretary of Commerce had said, if you recall, in an interview, he'd said, was it Lutnick is his name? He'd said something along the lines of, we're going to bring iPhone factories and have them here and we're going to be screwing them in. And then the interviewer said, you want Americans to be screwing in with their little tiny hands, little young Americans screwing in iPhones? And he goes, no, that's going to be robots doing it. We need people to supervise the robots. It's all just nobody seems to understand why this is happening. And so that's why we got to ask, why is this happening? Well, Trump has been a tariff hawk for a long time. In Trump's mind, First of all, he thinks he's a stable genius. He thinks he's the master of negotiations. He's not. We all know he's bankrupted several casinos. His father gave him money. He lost the money. He bankrupted his airline. There was the meat company, charities. He bankrupted a lot of stuff. So his father gave him money. He lost a lot of that money. Things weren't looking good. Mark Burnett comes around and puts him on The Apprentice and makes him look like, again, a deal maker. And so America, or a lot of people in America, at least half the population here, fell for it and voted for him, thinking that he's going to help the economy. And let's face it, a lot of times Republicans vote for their candidate because they say that our guy's going to go in there, he's going to deregulate, he's going to make it easier for business, he's going to lower taxes, and he's going to be better for the economy. That's what they always say. Never plays out that way. All the promises made never play out. And by the way, the people that do make money are the friends of the president. And in this case, if you recall, when the tariffs were first implemented, a few days later, when things stabilized and he started pulling back on those tariffs, he was in the White House with Charles Schwab and a couple other people going, this guy made $2 billion, this guy made a couple $2 billion, because the stock market was starting to come back. And so, yeah, who made money off of these tariffs? Whoever has money to buy stocks when the stocks go down. And that's usually rich people. Who lost money on these tariffs? People whose savings and 401ks depended on them surviving and paying rent. That's who lost from these tariffs. And who's going to lose from these tariffs? We've seen, again, Donald Trump saying, hey, maybe this Christmas, instead of getting your kid $30, you should get her $2. That's what he said. So again, this is a let them eat cake moment. The rich don't care. They keep saying, Elon Musk famously said, oh, it's going to be painful for a little bit, but it'll be fine. It's easy to say it's going to be painful when your net worth is $200-300 billion. Hey, I'm going to have to drink less of the exclusive tequila for a little while. And even then, they probably can. But the people that are suffering right now are the people who are going to be paying the higher prices. Donald Trump is supposed to bring prices down. He has not, and it's not looking good. If you listen to any economist, they say the prices are going to go higher and higher because of these stupid trade wars. There are issues that we have with other countries, China being the main one, and there was a way to handle this a little more surgically, to perhaps talk to China and say, guys, on this industry, you guys tariff us this much. We want to tariff you this much. Let's negotiate. Let's come to a deal, and let's all win, or at least feel like we won. But this is not good. And one other thing I want you guys to look up, and I've said this before in these videos, look up Ron Vera, V-A-R-A. Ron Vera is the name that Peter Navarro used in his book that was all about tariffs, putting tariffs on China and going after China. He constantly quoted an economist named Ron Vera who said tariffs are good. And Peter Navarro is Donald Trump's advisor on a lot of these tariffs. Turns out Ron Vera was not a real person. Peter Navarro just took his own name and did a little anagram of the name and came up with Ron Vera. So he was quoting a made-up economist to say the tariffs are good, and Donald Trump has been a tariff hawk for years and years. You can find clips of him in the 80s saying the Japanese are taking advantage of us. And so here we are, the perfect combination of Dumb and Dumber, and we end up with this economy that was moving pretty good. And now people are saying, well, we might have inflation and a recession, and I mean, it's gonna be murky. It's gonna be a rocky road coming up. And again, we got to ask ourselves, why are they doing this? Ultimately, why they're doing this is because Donald Trump continues to sell these tariffs as a good thing, and he's got a lot of his base that probably still listen to him. He's also probably getting ready to bail out, like he did in the previous administration when he was president. When he put tariffs on China, he had to spend a lot of money to subsidize the farmers who lost business, the American farmers who lost business because of those tariffs. So now he's probably going to go out and subsidize some of these people that are his constituents and try and get them through and make them think that, oh, these tariffs are good for you, they're good for you. And by the way, look, we save money by having these other countries pay the tariffs. That's what he's saying, even though we pay the tariffs. And all of this is in an effort so that when the Republican Congress and Trump, decide to extend the tax cuts, which benefit more the wealthy and corporations, they can say, look, we save money. We save money by bringing in money from tariffs. We save money by cutting government programs. That's why Doge is there. Doge is there to say, Elon Musk famously said he's going to cut $2 trillion in expenses and costs. And I think he's at some, 50 billion or something, not even close. And by the way, they've cut things like USAID, and they're cutting people from the FAA, and they're cutting all kinds of programs that we need. This is nonsensical, all in the pursuit of greed so that they can lower their taxes. And if you don't see that, then I don't know what else I can tell you. If you really believe that these tariffs were good somehow, I don't know what to tell you. Again, I'm not saying there wasn't problems with China and trying to figure out our trade deficit with China, but you got to do things surgically. You don't go in there and say, we're gonna tariff the whole world, and then end up in a situation where you start pulling back and go, well, okay, fine. Just the whole world except for automobiles. Oh, it's the whole world except for iPhone parts. Some of our biggest companies just started tanking. The Apple stock was going like this, and as soon as Donald Trump said tariffs, it just went right down, along with a lot of the others. And not just the stocks, it's costs of actual products that are starting to come, because it takes a while. We've heard now more and more that these docks in Los Angeles and elsewhere are not expecting that many deliveries from overseas because of these costs. It's just unfathomable. 145% tariff across the board on China. So, folks, if you voted for him, you might want to look at who he has, whose interests he has in mind. Is it yours or is it his? And if you didn't vote for him, then good for you. And make sure you vote in the midterms so that perhaps we have a Congress and maybe a Senate that can stop some of these crazy things that he's doing. He's really ruined the world economy, and it's all in the pursuit of greed. Guys, I'm comedian Maz Jobrani. I've got a channel right here on YouTube. It's called Maz Jobrani. Give it a follow. It's free. I post stand-up comedy. We need a laugh. And my laughs have no tariffs.